Bible Mysteries, Unsealed. Episode 2, The Nephilim Conspiracy, Giants Among Us. In the deep shadows of early Genesis, before the flood, before Babel, before law and covenant, there is a cryptic verse, so brief and strange that many skip over it without pause. And yet, within that verse lies a mystery that has captivated scholars, conspiracy theorists, and biblical detectives for generations. Genesis 6:2-4 reads, "There were giants on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came in to the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown." Giants, sons of God, daughters of men, men of renown. What? Is this, some say, myth? Others, metaphor? Or were they something else, beings not of this world? But what if it's neither? It introduces us to a group called the Watchers, a cadre of angels assigned to observe humanity. But instead of simply watching, they crossed the line. They descended, they desired, half human, half divine, beings of immense size, strength, and wickedness. Others would call the beginning of the end. Genesis 6-9 says Noah was perfect in his generations. Was that a moral compliment? Or a reference to his untainted bloodline, and also afterward? In Hebrew, Nephilim comes from the root nephil, meaning to fall. They are the fallen ones. And immediately your mind jumps, fallen from where? What if it's history? These beings are called Nephilim, a name, as chilling as it is debated. These were remnants. The Philistine warrior defeated by David may have been one of them. A giant, descended from something not quite human. Survivors. Echoes of a pre-flood monstrosity. Others say they were hidden, suppressed, buried deeper than the bones themselves. They went by different names, Anakim Raphaim, Zamzamim, but the fear was the same. Theologians have long pondered, who were the sons of God? Were they righteous descendants of Seth? Book of Enoch once again lifts the curtain just a little further. When Moses sends spies into Canaan, they return terrified, saying, or a spiritual dacia vu. They mated with human women, and their offspring, the Nephilim. They weren't just tall, they were terrifying. God looks upon the earth and declares it corrupts, so much so that he sends the flood. There are photographs, now mysteriously scrubbed from archives, showing skulls with double rows of teeth, elongated craniums, giant femurs. They weren't just warriors, they were aberrations. They were the stuff of legend and judgment. According to Enoch, these watchers taught forbidden knowledge to humanity: sorcery, weaponry, astrology, seduction, what some might call technological enlightenment. It's no coincidence that shortly after this strange invasion, in fact, some scholars argue that Noah's righteousness wasn't just about character, it was about genetics. Did the flood cleanse the earth of Nephilim? Merely scatter their seed? Could CRISPR technology be echoing the forbidden arts once taught by the Watchers? Could the sudden push toward transhumanism, the blending of man and machine, be a modern repeat of the ancient hybrid rebellion? The text is tantalizingly ambiguous. There were giants on the earth in those days, also afterward, after the flood, after the reset, after the judgment. We meet them again in Numbers 13. There we saw the Nephilim, and we were like grasshoppers in our own sight. These weren't ordinary opponents. Some believe Goliath, but what if they're still among us? We may find that the monsters of old never really died. They just changed form. Stay curious, and remember, not all giants wear armor. Some fringe researchers drawing on ancient texts, satellite imagery, and classified military reports believe the Nephilim didn't disappear. They went underground. Literally. There are tales, especially in Middle Eastern and Native American lore, of vast underground cities, of bones too large to be human, of sarcophagi that defy conventional classification. Smithsonian officials claim to have lost these artifacts. Why? Because if the Nephilim were real, if ancient hybrid beings once walked the earth, then everything changes. History, theology, anthropology, even the present. Some connect the dots between Nephilim and the modern obsession with genetic engineering. In fact, Revelation 9 describes a day when beings locked in the abyss will rise again, creatures with features part human, part monster. Is this prophecy? Jesus himself said. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be in the days of the Son of Man. The days of Noah when Nephilim walked the earth. He wasn't just speaking of corruption or violence. He may have been speaking of return. And yet, in all this mystery, one thing remains clear. The Nephilim were not just curiosities. They were a symptom of a deeper disease. A rebellion, cosmic, spiritual, and genetic against the design of God. Their story isn't just about giants. It's about boundaries. It's about the consequences of stepping into realms not meant to be crossed. But even higher amid giants and watchers and floods, the grace of God rises. He preserved a line. He preserved a promise. He preserved hope. Because even when monsters roam the earth, God never forgets his people. So, were the Nephilim real? Were they myth? Or were they the first warning sign of a deeper war, one that still rages behind the veil? You decide. But beware, because as we uncover more biblical mysteries, next time on Bible Mysteries, Unsealed, the Tower of Babel, Blueprint for AI Control,